Silent Hill is a game that plunges deep into the human subconscious, dragging out the darkest fears and secrets of its characters to torment them. From the start, women have been at the center of the series. In Silent Hill 1, we had Alessa, the devilish cult known as the Order from the town of Silent Hill believed Alessa to be the one who could bring forth their god. Then there's Silent Hill 2, which had characters like Angela, who struggled with abuse, Mary, who struggled with terminal illness, and Maria, who struggled with self-identity. All female characters that were handled with the utmost sensitivity by Team Silent in their biggest game of the series. And who could forget Heather in Silent Hill 3, the main character of her own game, who is portrayed as a fierce survivor confronting her destiny with courage and the sassiness of a teenager. Team Silent crafted these female characters into the fabric of Silent Hill's lore, not as tokens, but as pillars of its identity. Fast forward to 2025, and in a desperate attempt to save their company after the departure of Hideo Kojima, the Silent Hill IP was dusted off the shelf and revived by Konami, where they announced multiple new projects to come in the future, starting with the Silent Hill 2 remake. The Silent Hill 2 remake was mostly successful and remained faithful to the original, despite the community being concerned with the initial trailers and lack of communication from Konami. But Konami's attempt to revive Silent Hill seemed to have worked, as it became a viral topic again on TikTok and other social medias, bringing in both new fans and delivering content for old fans. A win-win situation for Konami. But here's where things get interesting. Among the new projects announced, the one that's been the most controversial is Silent Hill F, which story is written by Japanese writer Ryukishi 07, who created the horror manga series When They Cry, another series with women at its center. This new game is set in 1960s Japan, and this entry tells the story of Hinako, a young girl who is facing forces of repression and fear, with inspiration drawn from the Japanese women's rights movement at the time. A perfect fitting, in my opinion, for the DNA of Silent Hill, which has always been about the characters confronting their deepest traumas and societal pressures. Now, within the Silent Hill fan base, this game has been controversial because it's not going to be set in the actual town of Silent Hill, which of course upsets certain hardcore fans because it shows that Konami has taken the series in a different direction. But most fans have an open mind and just want a good Silent Hill game. The latest controversy surrounding the game, however, comes from a Twitter post by @PirateNation, where they posted a screenshot of an article by PC Gamer talking about Silent Hill F. The article is called Hinako Shimizu's arc in Silent Hill F is shaped by Japanese women's rights movement of the 1960s and depicts how she musters the courage to combat repression she encounters. Of course, this post went viral, gaining over 2 million views and 7k likes, with some very interesting comments. Now, if you consider yourself to be a fan of Silent Hill, I want you to tell me if you think these are the type of people that were even going to play this game in the first place. God damn it, when will the Japanese realize we Westerners are kicking out the SJW shit because it was cringe and controlling and we're sick of it? This is so fucking gay. Wow, they made this game even more gay than I thought. Women's rights movement? Psychotic women will never leave men-only spaces alone. Yeah, you guys are reading that right. Your eyes do not deceive you. These people are upset at the word women's rights movement without even knowing what the game is actually going to be about. Now, since this PC Gamer article is what got everyone's panties in a bunch, I feel like it's only right for us to actually read the article here on the video. Hinako Shimizu is shaping up to be one of the more intriguing protagonists I've encountered in a Silent Hill game. Even after 3 hours of playing through the beginning of Silent Hill F, I still can't quite figure out whether she's as innocent and selfless as she appears. But what is clear is that, like many characters present in Silent Hill games, she has been through a hell of a lot of trauma. Minor spoilers ahead for Silent Hill F. The game follows the torments and turmoils of Hinako, who is a repressed young woman. Motoi Okamoto, series producer of Silent Hill, tells me at Gamescom, Hinako is an individual who's gone through a lot of repression, so there are a lot of things that are applying pressure to her. This is the source of her many eternal conflicts, the focus that we put on the story, and for Hinako is how she musters the courage to combat that repression. It's established straight away that Hinako doesn't want to conform to what society views as her role as the subservient wife or daughter. Unlike her older sister, it doesn't seem like she has much of an interest in marrying, and she has no love left for her abusive father, who seems to either ignore or yell at her depending on his mood. Hinako's trauma-loaded backstory is largely in line with your average Silent Hill protagonist, without a massive deposit of unresolved trauma or issues. The game would be too short and there'd be no iconic monsters to hide from. But Silent Hill F does switch up Hinako's story a bit by turning back the clock. The reason why we arrived at 1960s because this is an era that represents female repression in Japanese society, Okamoto says. The 1960s were a time when this type of repression was prevalent, but it is also one of the hallmark eras in Japanese history for women's rights movements. What makes her story all the more interesting isn't simply what Hinako has experienced in her life up until this moment, but it's her fears of what is to come and her uncertain place in a world that is undergoing some huge societal changes. Now, from reading this article, do you guys have a problem with what the story of Silent Hill F is going going to be, because to me, it sounds like the whole women's rights thing is just going to be a plot tool, and I'm completely fine with that. The moment these people heard women's rights connected to Silent Hill F, the usual suspect rushed to call it woke, DEI, or worse, without even knowing the history of the franchise. And that's the laughable part. Silent Hill has always been centered around women, trauma, and survival. Alessa was literally the catalyst of the entire series. Angela, of course, in Silent Hill 2 was one of the most heart-wrenching stories of the franchise. And then Heather was the face of Silent Hill 3, carrying the legacy of the first game. None of that was woke back then. It was just Silent Hill being Silent Hill. So when people go online and complain about Silent Hill F having a female lead or exploring women's rights, what they're really doing is exposing themselves that they never understood Silent Hill in the first place. Now look, I'm not here to be the white knight in shining armor for women, because Lord knows they don't need me to defend them, but I'm just here to make an argument that not everything is a gender issue or needs to spark a huge argument about men versus women. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be dishonest and say that there is not an issue in the gaming industry with a lot of devs pushing their political ideology onto games. I recognize why such statements and insults like this are being made today on Twitter. It's because certain games like Dragon Age the Veilguard, Avowed, The Last of Us 2, and that Saints Row reboot, they do deserve that label of being woke, because the games completely changed their essence from their previous games to be shaped around this new age 2020 political worldview. But that's not the case with Silent Hill F, and I feel like the word woke is becoming more diluted and losing its meaning, because people just spam it at anything they see with a woman or even a black person. Like back when Kill Bill and Blade was made, people weren't calling it woke because it wasn't for a specific gender, it was just badass. I feel like that's the same lens people need to look at Silent Hill with. Girls have always been at the center of the story, and now in 2025 they are sticking to that, but the current political climate has made it to where certain people can't even turn their brain off and enjoy a story because they see someone who they think they can't identify with. It's not that they can identify with this character, it's that they don't want to. In Silent Hill 2, you can identify with Mary not wanting to lose her life because of illness. In Silent Hill 3, you can identify with Heather losing her father and being stalked by a cult. I don't need to have female body parts to understand and empathize with the struggle of these characters. But listen, only time will tell, I guess. The game comes out in a month and we will see if the game is truly woke, and I'll be the first one to say that it is. I just want all my fellas out there to chill out a bit. You guys are going too hard on a game that just from the title of an article says women's rights. 90% of y'all are not even reading the damn article. The whole women's rights thing is just going to be a plot tool used to make Hinako even more scared of the world. She's already being held down by society in the real world, and now she has to try to overcome that all while fighting demons. I don't know about you guys, but this story sounds horrifying to me, and that's exactly what I want in my Silent Hill games. You guys need to give it a shot. I'm not saying don't label things woke, but just stop throwing the word around at everything you don't like and ruining the fun for other people or potential new fans to the series. Anyway, I just wanted to speak on the situation because I saw nobody else on YouTube was covering it. Let Silent Hill be Silent Hill. If we are going to criticize anything, let it be the actual gameplay and story itself, not the fact that it's a female lead. That's pretty much all, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you're new to my content and like horror games. Follow me on Twitch for when I go live. Don't forget to like and comment. I've been Vanquish Kira.